There's dog crap everywhere, but in the main, their dogs are quite small. And we're now at the Piazza dei Davanzati. I'm always amazed when I get someplace, even using a map. This is Palazzo dei Davanzati, which is a medieval 5-story tower house, it's called. Notice the rustica, or rough construction to it. Perhaps this was a style then. Don't know for sure what those square holes were for, unless they supported cantilevered outriggers from which you would then put wooden structures. I've read of that being done. Notice the fittings on the outside of the building for who knows what, maybe holding lanterns, holding flags. I'm guessing that the structure beneath is designed to catch debris that falls off this rustic building so it doesn't kill anybody. Apparently all of the ironwork is original. Probably held ancient torches of some sort. I can't find the access into here. There's supposed to be daily access, but I can't find it. But this is just an interesting little series of small balconies, presumably for residential areas, residential places. Notice how pretty that one up there might be. Cactuses even. That apparently is the entry, but it's closed. So en route down to the Uffizi, I saw here the Palazzo Bartolini Salimbeni. Considering how short the people were, these were up pretty high. So this is probably how you would have entered this family's home. And once inside, this compacted chunk of elegance. Look at the pretty balcony up there. Maybe they lived upstairs. I don't know what the living arrangements were. Don't know if some of this presumably were the original. Now it's used for some kind of business or government agencies. Here would have been the pretty little balcony that we saw. And there upstairs, probably a wide open veranda. These look like frescoes and maybe well painted at one time, you can't tell. Colors may have been dramatic on it. And what we're left with is the eroded white. I would guess that the enclosed archways that we see were probably opened, maybe into adjoining gardens or cloister areas. Notice the little rings at the corner of the stairs that would have held the carpet bars. Would this have been original furniture? Don't know. Pretty carved wooden ceiling. Would there have been some kind of decoration in the center? A della robbia? Ceramic, perhaps? Would the walls have been painted with frescoes of some sort? Or held tapestries? Don't know the age of this place. But the books I read suggest that one of the major reasons for the growth of tapestries was that they were used to block windows which kept out the air, or miasma, that people felt in those days transmitted the bubonic plague. Look at these carved railings of stone. You can of course imagine that just like Jackson Hole's big homes, Any alcove, any wall was a repository for art. Looking downriver on this pretty day, the Castello Church on the left where I was yesterday, and there's that palazzo I was just videoing. You have to be a little bit duplicitous around here. I went inside and somebody started yelling at something. I thought it could be me. I continued on upstairs. They didn't follow, and I continued on even farther. And then when I came back down, the lady was all indignant that I might have been using my video camera, although there was almost absolutely nothing in there other than the architecture to video. This is another old, probably palazzo, and down there is the Ponte Vecchio, and here the Ponte Trinita, Michelangelo or Brunelleschi's design church. Here we have a little bit better view of it than before. Pretty graceful arches. Florence is another one of those places that I paused to ask myself if I would like to live there. La Serena in Chile was pretty, but only in the center square area and a few blocks surrounding it. Otherwise, it was typical dirty, rundown South America. Here, the whole city is a I don't know, warm, comfortable place. But if I had, even for a short time, a place to live, maybe up in there, or one of these apartments over here, I don't know what I would do there. I don't have what I consider my life in Jackson, or even in Arizona. But maybe I would discover interesting things to do. You can only visit the museum so many times. A close-up of the back of Benvenuto Cellini, the great goldsmith sculptor. It occurred to me that visiting places like this is like looking at a great piece of art. You soak up the ambience of it. You appreciate it, you enjoy it, but it's only a small fragment of your life, and then you move on to whatever your life is. Interesting to look at these storefront fascias that are used to lock it up and wonder how old they might be. This pretty little arcade of arches that goes down along the river towards the Uffizi from the Ponte Vecchio. Close-up view of the tower over Palazzo Vecchio. I wonder how long that clock has been there. And since these were government offices for a good part of their time, perhaps those are the crests of all the major families. Cold and crisp, but a nice clouded view of the Duomo and Giotto's tower. A little graffiti on the Uffizi men's room wall. A little bit of a distant view of what the upstairs of these palazzos might look like, at least all that we can see. Almost a gourmet's vignette in itself. Again, I was a little bit hungry and my restaurant was closed. And the man, I believe, assured me that these were health foods. They look delicious. But you know the Italians can be scoundrels, so who knows. Don't know what this is as I shake the cold. But an old classical impressive building nevertheless. With some interesting classical graffiti all over it. Certainly all the statuary has a story, has a meaning, if only I knew it. I'm just a block away from Piazzale de Signoria, where the Palazzo Vecchio and the Uffizi is, so these got to be something important from the early days, but what, I have no clue. I would call this an example of elegance and taste, or the presumption of it. Stopped by this restaurant I stopped in earlier. It's not really a restaurant, that's quasi-restaurant. And ordered some soup. It's expensive, €7, which probably taps out around 9 something US or more. But it's a full bowl, it looks good, and it's cold.